Less than 2 weeks ago, it looked like Christian Eriksen's Manchester United career was approaching its end. United had seemingly tried to sell him in the summer, and then in the first 4 games of the season, including the Community Shield, he played just 4 minutes. However, fast forward 2 weeks, he's played 3 games in a row, he's got 3 goal contributions, and has actually become a genuinely key player for Erik ten Hag again. So what is it that he's bringing to this team that is so valuable? Let's take a look. So if we quickly plonk Christian Eriksen into this Manchester United team in the current structure, which looks something like this at the moment, we know what we're going to get. Eriksen isn't suddenly doing something new. He hasn't transformed his play style. He's the same Christian Eriksen that he's always been. That's an intelligent, incredibly technical footballer. But for me, I think it's the intelligence which is so important to Manchester United. Eriksen has this brilliant ability to just find space somewhere on the football pitch. Now at the moment he's often doing it on the left hand side of the Manchester United midfield, dropping into this slightly deeper position on the left side. And what this allows him to do, essentially, is be a connection point from the defence to the midfield to the attack. We have seen over the past couple of seasons that at times United are disconnected, the gaps are too big, and it makes it really difficult for us to play short passes through the lines and actually play short passing football. With someone like Eriksen willing to drop into these wider positions, willing to get on the ball, it gives United just an extra option to play short. So when Lisandro Martinez has the ball, he has that extra player. United actually have a choice now whether they want to play short or long. So that is one of the main things that Christian Eriksen brings to this team. He instantly makes the whole team want to play just a little bit shorter. Now I guess the question that some people will have is, why is Eriksen dropping to the left side working so much better than, for example, when Dalot was doing it? Because we did see that early in the season. Early in the season, Dalot was playing here. We would have a central midfielder in this position. And we also had Marcus Rashford, if I can find him, playing on the left wing. And we spoke a lot about how this didn't work. Dalot being right-footed was a massive problem for Manchester United. How come suddenly Dalot inside, but Eriksen still right-footed? Why is it now working? Well, let's quickly shift the opposition into more of a 4-3-3 shape, because that is what we are more likely to face. Why is it easier for a player to arrive into this space rather than starting there? Well, actually, it's fairly simple. Let's put Eriksen back in the middle for now, and United are being pressed like this. So Lisandro Martinez has the ball, and he's going to play the ball up the line to Diogo Dalot. When that happens, Diogo Dalot is the designated fullback. That is quite clear. So therefore, for the opposition, who presses the fullback, 9 times out of 10 it is going to be the winger. So that player goes there, and then Dalot being right-footed, restricted inside, is a problem, because United are too easy to press. And as a result, Marcus Rashford has to drop deeper to try and get on the ball, and United lacked any attacking threat down the left-hand side. Suddenly, we're doing it a little bit differently. Dalot is rotating in, and Eriksen is rotating wide. But actually on paper, this is still the same thing. It's still a right-footed player, so what is the key difference? For me, it's the fact that the players don't start in that position, but that they rotate there. And that asks questions of the opposition. Because Dalot starts in this wider position, and that is Nketiah's man. He knows that is where he needs to be. He needs to follow Dalot. Suddenly Dalot starts moving in field, so Nketiah goes, okay, that's my man, I need to follow him. I need to follow him into this space. The counter movement then is from Christian Eriksen, dropping into this left back position. And the reason that he gets more space and time than what Dalot was getting is because the man marking Eriksen is actually a central midfielder. And as a defensive-minded central midfielder playing for the opposition, do I really want to go out there and close Eriksen down? Because if I do, I'm leaving this massive gap in midfield. This is why it's working a little bit better for Eriksen than it did Dalot. Even though he's still right-footed, it's just a better dynamic because it asks more questions of the opposition. As a result, our left winger, whether that be Rashford or Garnacho, can play a little bit higher, and instantly we have more threat. Now, one of the threats that we really get here is Christian Eriksen's ability to pick up the ball and actually get the ball to the far side. You can see him here. He uses his body really well, and he wants to roll inside onto his stronger right foot, like so. And you just know, if you've got a player like Christian Eriksen, we know how good his passing range is. He's a phenomenal long passer. If you've got Eriksen in time here, that's dangerous. He's a great player on the ball. And in terms of the opposition player, you can see that he's hesitant to get too close because he's been pulled out of position. So it makes Eriksen a really valuable tool. And we see it a bit better here. On the left-hand side, he's moving infield. Always trying to get the ball onto his right foot first. But then you can see no one can get close to him. Playing on the left and then rolling inside gives him so much room on the ball to then ping passes like this. And there are not many players in the United squad that can play that pass regularly. And what's exciting about Eriksen is that he can also do it the other way as well. He can do it from right to left. This is a lovely pass out to Garnacho, and it helps Manchester United speed up the attack. So that is one thing that Eriksen is bringing to this United team. An ability to get on the ball with a bit of time, which United often struggle with. He's getting time on the ball, and from there he's got a brilliant passing range. That improves our ability to attack down the right hand side. We can switch the ball and attack quickly, create 2v2s that we've spoken about a lot. But also, because it allows our left winger to play higher here, we actually have more threat down this side as well. And again, Eriksen is the sort of player that has that ability to play the ball into these positions, and Rashford can attack it. So instantly, Eriksen being in the team makes us much better out wide. Now, what if I told you that on top of that, Eriksen is also improving our ability to play through the middle of the pitch as well? That's how much he's bringing to this team. He is also helping our central progression, something that we struggled with a lot in the first 2-3 game weeks of the season. This was a real problem. Eriksen has improved us in this area. Why? Well, first of all, this isn't just a Christian Eriksen thing, it's a Manchester United thing. Erik ten Hag has changed the build-up structure. We are regularly seeing a back three and then two players in the midfield like this, as our foundation, giving us plenty of players to move the ball around the back. So instantly we are getting more possession, which is a good start. But what's important also is that we have these two players higher in midfield as well. We create this box shape in midfield, but it's not just about having the box. You know, that's oversimplifying it. It's about the positioning of the players within that box shape in the centre of the park. You see, if your players are like this, and your box is very narrow, very central, very compact, it's actually still relatively easy for the opposition to deal with, even though you have more players. Let's say Lisandro Martinez has the ball here. The opposition can get their midfield three, ignore the personnel here, but they can get their midfield three, and whilst they may only have 3 players to your 4, that's enough. They can deal with it. They can kind of block these passes through. So you might have a lot of the ball, but the opposition are still relatively easily going to stop your ball progression. However, United aren't making it that easy. They're doing something a little bit different. What we are seeing is our double pivot moving closer to each other, which naturally makes the opposition want to play closer, but then our higher 2 midfielders are pulling just a little bit wider. Now, it's important to note we don't do this all the time. You will find situations where we're still fairly narrow, but with these two pulling a little bit wider, it gives us easy access down the outside of the opposition midfield. And that can be in this sort of shape against a kind of 4-3-3, or if we're playing against a 4-2-3-1 as well. Again, you can open up the opposition like this, you can stretch their midfielders, and that's where you can play through. Now, what's important for Eriksen here, in terms of aiding centralised progression, is that he is right-footed. You see, when a left-footed player receives this ball, he turns on the back foot, and wants to play out to Marcus Rashford. That would be wide progression. That would be the way that we are playing. However, Eriksen is a player, being right-footed, that wants to take his first touch inside. And because of our box shape in midfield, drawing the opposition high, if his first touch is positive with the right foot, it gives him the chance to come into this space. And this is now a really dangerous position for Manchester United to be in. And we've seen this a couple of times early on. This is Lisandro Martinez playing in the centre of the back three. At the moment, our double pivot in midfield is Mazraoui and Kobbie Mainoo, both playing pretty close to each other. And Lisandro Martinez is going to fire this pass through the midfield. Now you can see the 2 midfielders for Southampton, caught narrow, caught close to each other. Eriksen is received on the outside of them, and the first touch is positive with the right foot. You can see, being right-footed, it takes him inside the pitch, into this position here. And there you can see, central progression. This is Manchester United really effectively moving the ball through the middle of the pitch, which is a real danger area. If you can attack and expose spaces here, you're much closer to goal than when you move the ball out wide. And again, this isn't the only scenario of this. Again, Lisandro Martinez is the man. He is the one progressing the ball. His passing is phenomenal, we all know that. But he fires that ball through the line. And what we're going to see is Christian Eriksen again picking up this pocket of space. Now again, if he was a left-footed player, he probably plays this sort of sweeping pass out wide. That's probably what he does here. However, because he is naturally right-footed, he wants to take his first touch with his right foot. And from this position, that will naturally always bring him in field. That's when you see combination play. And that's where Manchester United have improved in the last couple of games. The combination play in field has been really impressive. Xerxes is a big part of that as well as Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, those sorts of players. But Eriksen is really bringing us something here, because he wants to move inside the pitch. And that's when we see these quick combinations through the centre, and once again we see central progression. And it also happens here as well. Bruno Fernandes lays the ball off for Christian Eriksen. Being a right-footed player, his immediate thought is, can I get the ball into that space through the middle of the pitch? He wants to play inside. And it's almost quite ironic, because we've spoken about the problem of United actually having too many right-footed players in the team, but actually right now the fact that Eriksen is one, right-footed, but also an incredible passer, is really useful for United. And I think what's interesting is that he's a forward passer. There's a lot of talk about Eriksen bringing more control to the United team. And I think he does, because of his approach, because of his ability to sense space, pick up the ball with time. But actually, when he himself gets the ball, he's still very much a forward-thinking player, and always has been. And just to clarify, by the way, Eriksen being a forward-passing player is not a problem at all, because he's playing in high positions at the moment. He's not playing deep in a double pivot, he's not picking the ball up off of our central centre-back in really short positions. He's playing a relatively attacking role, I would say. He is given the licence to get forward, and this is why. Because there are not many players in the world, I genuinely believe, that find this pass. Look at this situation here. Eriksen's got the ball, right side of the box, and look how many Southampton players are all crowded around him. The fact that Eriksen is going to pull this pass out of the locker through that space is honestly just absolutely ridiculous. It's insane. Now, Xerxes can't quite get there, so you could argue the pass isn't quite right. But that vision, the weight of pass, is all absolutely brilliant. That is what Eriksen brings to this team. And generally, I would say, on the ball, he is bringing something to us in every phase of play. He is helping us in the middle of the pitch, he is helping us out wide, he's helping us to slow the game down, but also play quickly with his expansive passing. He's really helping us in possession. Now, I dare say there will come a time where physically he gets exposed, and this probably isn't a long-term solution. But right now, he is really valuable to Erik Ten Hag, and at some point, Ten Hag needs to find a way to adapt to make sure we keep that quality in the team, whilst perhaps actually improving the physicality off the ball as well. But right now, Eriksen is playing extremely well. He has earned his spot in the team, and he's really bringing something. Those are my thoughts anyway. I'm very positive about him. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. What is Eriksen bringing to the team? Why is it so important? And how can we perhaps cater for it moving forward in the future, perhaps with a different player? Let me know what you think in the comments, but apart from that, we are finished for today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.